Hey guys, Sam from Manfa's Makes and
Moose Mike.
So welcome back to all our returners and hi to any newbies. It's so great to have you here. Please do stick around a while, and if you like what you see, give us a thumbie. They are free. So just a little disclaimer, you might hear household noises because the children are doing their after dinner chores, which includes dishes. And when children do dishes, we all know that is never a quiet affair, so apologies in advance. Also, apologies in advance if you are having trouble with my volume. I do not know why some videos are quieter than others. I don't do anything different with my setup. It's clearly my laptop sometimes doesn't want to play ball. So if I am quite quiet, perhaps listen to me with earbuds. That might help because I can't afford better equipment right now. So that's all I can really suggest. Or you could put us on the big telly and watch us that way, but I don't think anyone wants to do that. Anyway, it is Thursday, and every week here on a Thursday, it is time for
Tile of the Week, Thursday.
And if you're new here, you won't know what that is. Well, I'm going to tell you like I do every week. A year ago, over a year ago, not the July of 2023, but the July of 2022, I was gifted this in Happy Mail by a dear sweet friend of mine who wanted to bless me with something from my Amazon wish list. It is 100 crochet tiles, edited by Sarah Callard. And when I was opening this, I got carried away and swept along with the moment, and I made the pledge that I was going to make all 100 tiles, one a week, until it was done, not figuring out that it was going to take the best part of 2 years. Go Manfa! And Mike decided to join me on the journey as well. Now, there are several other people joining in with Tile of the Week Thursday, although at the moment everybody has lots of other wonderful things that they are involved with, and some of them have taken a bit of a hiatus or a little bit of a break, which is absolutely fine. So we're still plugging along, we're still chugging along, but there is still hours and hours worth of videos for you to watch, and if you want to, I will put our playlist down in the description box for you to find easily. But if you want to know who else has joined in from time to time along the way, just type in hashtag Tile of the Week Thursday at the top of your YouTube page, and everyone who has ever used that hashtag will pop up, and you will be able to see some other people's take on some of these tiles. Now, there are still a couple of people joining along. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It was never meant to be a crochet along, but people took it upon themselves to make it one, which was absolutely astounding. And we have affectionately dubbed them the Crazies, because you would be crazy to do this with us. And some of you have, which is fabulous. Excuse me. Also, please do make sure to check out my community tab, because every Thursday, the beautiful Josephine, who is a subscriber who doesn't have content, joins in alongside with us. She sends me a picture of her tile and I put it on my community tab to showcase to you. And this week we have another lovely that has literally only got her book last week and has jumped in, and she did the very first tile all those tiles ago. And I will show you the picture of her fabulous tile on my community tab as well. So as always, tell Josephine how fabulous her work is. But please, please, please give Tracy loads of love and support for jumping in and joining on this crazy journey of ours. And the fact that she is starting right from the beginning this far into the game. Kudos to you, my lovely. But thank you so much for joining in and letting me share your work as well. I really appreciate it. Anyway, all of that to say, we are on week 61. So we are chugging along and we are over that peak and coming down the other side. We have decided that we are going to take at least one Thursday off over the Christmas period. We are still figuring out dates on that one, and we will let you know closer to the time. But, you know, Christmas is a time for family, and we don't want pressure on ourselves to do a tile when really we should be, you know, up to our necks in festivities, joy and love. So neither should any of you, but we will give you prior warning of that. And we will be finishing probably around July, August time next year. So there is plenty of weeks still to come. But let's concentrate on this week, shall we? This week it was Concentric Zigzags, and the designer was Carol Ibbotson. That is what it is supposed to look like, guys. This is another inset mosaic. And I still don't like inset mosaic. My opinion has not changed since last week. This one was much quicker for me to do because last week I ironed out all the bits that were maybe confusing or getting me into the swing of knowing that technique. Because I did last week's tile, I was able to complete this one much quicker, plus there were a few less rounds. This week there was only 20 rounds, I believe. Yeah. Now, she suggested 2 colours of a worsted or Aran weight yarn, which I did do, and I believe you did that as well, Mike. And she suggested a 3.5mm hook. In all honesty, guys, I can't remember what hook I used. It was either a 4 or a 4.5. And it was a clover. Or was it a dots? I don't know. I'm sorry that I forgot that important bit of information. But I have done a lot of other crochet this week. And I did this practically, was it Friday or Saturday? It was quite early on after last week's episode. So it's been about a week. Nearly, and I've forgotten. But I did use the Aran worsted weight yarn. Now, my tension was clearly a little bit off. Whether it was because I was rushing through to get it done because I had other things that I needed to put my attention on, I do not know. Whether I probably should have gone up to an even bigger hook size, possibly. That was what Mike suggested I needed to have done because it is ruching and buckling and it needs a bit of blocking. Now, these tiles have already been claimed even though the person receiving them hasn't yet seen our version. So Aussie Sandy, Aussie Sandy, I'm really sorry, but you're probably going to have to block mine. I'm not going to have time to block it myself, but you're probably going to have to stretch mine out a good little bit because it is literally warping and buckling on itself. I do apologise for that. What I mean by the tiles being claimed is Mike and I are not keeping any of these tiles. We have no use for them, no desire to keep them. They are literally just taking up space. And so many of you have expressed an interest in wanting to own a pair of tiles of ours that a little while ago, the first batch of 50, people put in requests and most of them were claimed. There were a few that weren't. And ever since we've started the mosaic segment of the book, every tile has been claimed. Some weeks, 2, 3, 4 of you are fighting for it. Now, so far, the only one that hasn't yet been claimed was last week's, which was the Samuel, I believe. That one. But you'll have to watch last week's episode to know what colours we did. So the Samuel is available.
And if you do that, you'll be able to see my progress on it.
Yep. So last week's Samuel is still open to be claimed. And next week's, again, without even seeing it or knowing what the design is, has already been claimed. So the only one on offer at the minute is the Samuel. So if you are in the market for a couple of tiles, pop me an email, let me know. But just know that I will not be sending tiles out until after Christmas. I have to be a bit frugal with my pennies leading up to the festive period. Okay, so are you ready to see mine? I stuck to the colours of the book. The colours of the book was blue and white. I did blue and white, and I also did blue because Aussie Sandy's favourite colour is blue, so I had to incorporate it. Now, looking at it straight on, you think, well, it doesn't look that bad, Manfa, but honestly, guys, look, it needs blocking. It really needs blocking, and that's after I've had it down on the table trying to press it out a little bit. It is literally like, right. So yeah, Aussie Sandy, you're gonna have to block mine, honey, but other than that, it is yours and it will be sent to you with love after Christmas. Again, I don't like inset, I prefer overlay. That's just my preference. I encourage each and every one of you to attempt mosaic. It looks scarier than what it actually is. Mike will attest to that. He was very like, I don't know if I can. If we both can, you guys can. It is literally doubles and singles. It's just where you put them to make the mosaic effect. Now, If you do attempt mosaic, I then also beg of you to try both types, because you may prefer one over the other. For me, I prefer overlay to inset, but you might love inset over overlay, but you're not going to know unless you try, right? So I do encourage you to try mosaic. It is quite fun, but I still like overlay more. And other than that, I don't really have a lot to say, because my stitch counts were right, my pattern turned out right. It just isn't the most enjoyable technique for me to do. And apart from it being a little bit warped, it's done. So there you go. Now Mike's turn.
I also don't like overlay.
No. You like overlay, you don't like inset. This is inset.
I don't like inset, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Wrong info. But I used an Aran, as discussed.
4 medium worsted.
Yes. But I used a 5mm hook.
Yep.
So mine isn't quite as warped, but it is still a little bit. So
Yeah.
you will have to block mine just a tad.
Yeah, and I think once you've blocked mine, you might be able to stretch it to be closer to Mike's size, because Mike's is slightly bigger. Now, Mike was again going to use his 4.5 like he did last week. I said maybe go up to a 5, see how you get on with a 5, which he did. And also, I was a bit sneaky with that, because a couple of you had suggested it in the comments last week in the video, but Mike doesn't watch the videos and doesn't really look at the comments. Sorry guys, his life is just way too busy. I tell him what you guys have said, the comments we've received. I've given him feedback on the overall acceptance of whatever content we put out. I didn't tell him that it was you guys that suggested going up a hook size, because Mike likes to do it his way, and even if you suggested it, he sometimes goes, no, I'm going to do it my way, thank you very much, which is fine. But I said, maybe try 5, see how that turns out. And he went, oh, all right then. I did it the sneaky womanly way. And he did. And to be perfectly honest with you, it is better than last week's, in my opinion, because you went up. Because Mike's tension has got even tighter than mine, guys.
Manly tension.
Yeah. So with just a little gentle nudge, and it was you guys that put the idea in my head. And with a gentle womanly nudge, rather than telling him what to do, because if you tell him what to do, he's going to do the opposite. And rather than being adamant and him fighting against it, I just gently suggested, and he went with it. And it turned out really well. So go on, show him your masterpiece.
It did turn out well, but it also turned out well because I've got to grips with the way you do these. So
he wasn't so keen last week.
It's not as out of place as it was last week. So.
And you got the pattern where the pattern was supposed to go. You didn't.
Yes, that's what I'm on about.
You didn't scooch.
No, I've got my counts right.
Yeah.
Basically, but here it is.
So he went for mustard and blue. It's the same blue as mine.
It is mustard, but I like to think of it as like a darker gold.
Yeah.
So, but it is warped, just not as much.
And can I just say that, again, we worked independently on these. We did it by ourselves. We didn't do it together like we always used to, purely because it is fitting in with our routine a little bit better, that we just grab the time when we have it, when it suits us, rather than we have got to get it done now, we have no other choice, and then we're just hating every moment of it. By picking our pocket of time when we are wanting to do it, it seems to be working better. Obviously, if we get past the mosaic and we come across stuff that either we haven't done or Mike needs a bit of guidance, then we'll go back to doing it together for a bit. We are just playing it by ear, but because Mike did it okay last week and he kind of got the gist of what inset was compared to overlay, I think you confidently did this without much of an issue, in fact with no issue at all. And he was going to do blue and white, because I said Aussie Sandy's favourite colour was blue. So could he put blue in it? That's the only thing that I requested of him. And I went, no, you can't do white because I've done white. So then he was going to do like fire engine red or something. And I'm like, can we go a little bit more neutral and muted? Because we don't actually know what Aussie Sandy wants to do with these. And if we go a little bit more demure, it might fit in with her future plans a bit better than, pow, have it.
Well, I thought do it the same colour, because then if you're going to ever use them for anything, you've got the matching colours.
And I get that, but then how are you going to distinguish whose is whose? Has to be a little
Because
bit
mine's
different.
bigger.
But it doesn't matter. Over time, that sort of information is going to be lost. Another thing that I don't really like about inset is the turn in right side, wrong side. Because for me, who can look at stitches and go, well, they were done on the wrong side and they were done on the right side, I like all my stitches to be right side facing. That's an OCD thing in me. But I just...
That doesn't bother me, but what bothers me is when you turn it over and you've got this bit.
Yeah, the jog up the corner. It could have been a tidier
this
corner.
Line here.
Yeah, mine's
It's
got
a
that
nightmare.
too. There, let's see. There's mine in my corner.
Because when you do overlay, it's the same on both sides.
Because you're just working on the same side.
A different pattern on the back side, but it's neat.
Yes. And also they do their corners different. We've discussed a lot about corners with the different styles of mosaic designers' corners.
I quite like the other way.
You didn't when you first tried it.
No, because it was a new thing. But
Yeah, I know.
I actually get to grips with it being like that, rather than always in the same corner. I actually understand that.
Yeah, when you had done a couple of them, but to be like, why is she doing her corners like this? It just makes no bloody sense, and why can't she just do it normally? And now you're like, I love it.
Well, I don't love it, but I understand why you do that.
And it also took me mentioning that by doing that corner that we are specifically mentioning, there isn't the corner where you join together with the slip stitch starts getting like loose and baggy and pulling apart. So one corner of the work that's facing you that you can see looks a little bit blurry and a little bit meh. Whereas the corners we are discussing, where you do the technique on opposite ends and you kind of chase yourself around, makes every corner look equal and the same, with no jogs or blurs or slight step ups or whatever.
They look better. They don't warp as easily. And in fact, even with the front side, where the jog is on the back, this bit it's not as neat as that corner. See?
Yeah.
This corner is not a right angle like that one.
No. So there are bits that we like and bits that we don't, but we both prefer overlay to inset is the general consensus. Now, what's coming up next week? What has the tile that hasn't yet been seen look like for the person that has already claimed it? Difficult. It is called Zigzag Swirls, and it's by Carol Ibbotson again. So again, it is inset. But we know what we're doing now. This is what Zigzag Swirls is hopefully going to look like for us both. Pretty cool looking, to be fair. Would make a lovely coaster or a placemat maybe. We're not going to be doing any of that because this is going to another lovely. And I'm sure she won't mind me saying it's Vicky Davis. Vicky Davis is going to have this one. But Carol suggests, again, 2 colours. Again, 4 worsted or Aran. And again, a 3.5mm hook. No. Sam has learned that she needs to go up to at least a 5, maybe a 5.5. I think Mike will stick to a 5 with his Aran weight because it's looking okay.
I might actually go up 5.5, because even with the 5, it's still warpy.
We'll find out next week what he chooses to do.
I mean, look.
Again, we're doing right side, wrong side. Oh, and the other thing that I want to say about Carol Ibbotson, seeing as she was this week's and she's going to be next week's, she doesn't on every row or round tell us right side or wrong side. She does for the first 2 rows at rounds, but then she neglects to say it. And I did say to Mike, it's not going to say it in the written instructions. It does say turn after the end of every round, so you should be flipping. But if you're a little bit distracted or absent-minded, you might forget to do that. And I just think it would be handy if they put that on every round like the other inset designer did. She did say right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side. I know, but It does say 2 rounds are worked in each colour and work is turned after each round, but like we've said about a lot of these patterns, especially the patterns before the mosaic section, a newbie beginner would not be able to pick up this book and be able to smash them out. You need some prior knowledge of crochet to do any of these tiles, in my opinion. So if you want it to be extremely beginner friendly, you need to put in right side, wrong side, just to cover all bases, because then nobody can say, well, you didn't tell me that, or I didn't realise that, or I neglected to retain that when I read the notes, whatever the case may be. It's just a little pointer out there that if you want any crocheter, whether they have only just picked a hook up or they've been doing it 40 years, put in all the info. Just a little suggestion. But Carol is not another Hattie or a Katie. She's fine. She does a style of mosaic we're not keen on, but it's not to the point where we hate it, we're pulling our hair out, we're throwing it across the room, we're having mantrums, nothing like that. So we'll see how Carol's next one goes next week, and we'll come back and tell you our little experience then. So
I would say that she's on a level with maybe Rosina Plain. One of the ones that weren't brilliant, but...
Rosina did Samuel last week and the first mosaic we ever did. So are you thinking of the right person?
Yeah, because she's done the other tiles in the beginning as well.
No, Rosina only ever
She's
does...
done some.
She only does mosaic.
Okay, maybe not then.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to have to correct you, but if you're telling people info, you need to know that you've got the right info, that's all. I'm pretty sure Rosina hasn't featured until the mosaic. Nika Pirowicz, she's alright. Anna Maria Sorayas. Hattie, no. Julie Yeager.
Well, that's not the same names, but yeah, either of them.
No, I'm just saying. I'm looking at the designers to see if Rosina's featured, and I don't think she has. Hattie. Oh, there was a lot of Hattie. Hattie Risdale we're talking about, and the other one's Katie Moore. Not fans. Not fans at all. See, there's a Katie. I only have to see her name, I'm like... Urgh. Oh, Hattie again.
Yeah, those last weeks were not nice.
Honestly, if you want Rochelle Carmona.
That's who I was on about.
So it wasn't Rosina Plain, it was Rochelle Carmona. You like her or you don't like her?
She's like an in-betweenie, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, right, okay. See, I wasn't really that fond of Rochelle Carmona either. I prefer the Julie Yeagers of the world. But it's each to their own. Each to their own, guys. Now, Rosina Plain, although I'm not keen on her designs, it's better than Insert, just saying. Anyway, we have blathered on enough. We have gone off on a tangent. So, we are going to let you go for today. But like I said, to find out everyone else's opinions, type in hashtag Tile of the Week Thursday in your YouTube search bar and you will get to see everyone that has posted a video on these said tiles. If you want some entertainment, maybe go back and see some of our earlier tiles, especially if they feature Hattie Risdale or Katie Moore, because we get quite cross and frustrated in some of them, just saying. And actually, one of our dear friends, and I'm not going to mention her name, sorry, because I'm going to have to remember to tag you, and tonight my brain is not worthy of remembering to tag people, but one of our dear friends, and she'll know who we're talking about as soon as we say this, has specifically asked us to put all the tiles that make us the most frustrated and angry to one side because she wants them. And she wants them to A, put a smile on her face, but B, also, just because it made us so cross, we don't have to look at them anymore. She's happier to look at them, so she can have them. But she specifically wants the ones that make us angry. So sorry, you know who. This has already been claimed anyway. But I don't think there's been a mosaic one yet.
No.
That has made us angry, although you did claim one just because you liked the yarn that we picked. So there will be a mosaic one for you, but not because it made us angry. Again, went on another tangent. I apologise. Please come back tomorrow to catch us on Crochet Catch Up, which is where we fill you in on all the other crochet that we have been up to this week.
Not a lot for me this week.
Quite a bit for me this week, so it will still be quite a long one because you know how much Manfa can waffle. And then Saturday we are planning to go live as usual, 4 p.m. Eastern, straight after Granny D, and it is on our channel this week. So please come to our house and party on Saturday. We would really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome.
And on a side note, thank you to everyone that is participating in Amigurumi Wars so far. It has been so lovely receiving your emails, and the entries are flooding in, guys. I don't know how I'm going to keep up with all these community tab posts. I don't think I thought this through. But we've started, and so we will finish. Anyway, more on that at some other point. Until we see you again.
Stay safe.
Be kind.
Look after one another.
Get some good quality time in with your loved ones.
Get some good quality tile working.
Get some good quality crafting time in. We will see you in the next one.
For Uneasy Streets.
Bye, guys. Love ya.